As you know, the WWE games now come out around WrestleMania time. That means WWE 2K24 will be coming out around WrestleMania 40. Huge time for them to do that. WrestleMania XL, which means it's going to be a big one. That means WrestleMania 40 is huge. So for WWE 2K24, I would love for them to do a 40 years of WrestleMania. It's been 10 years since we had a 30 years of WrestleMania mode, and I think this is a perfect time for them to do that. Instead of doing a 2K showcase with a specific character, we can focus on the 40 years of WrestleMania, all the great matches and everything that went down. And the big issue is a lot of guys that are featured in WrestleMania matches, big moments, went to AEW. So you have guys like Edge, you have guys like Christian, you have guys like CM Punk may or may not come back to the WWE, so he could be in it. Ric Flair's over there. So you have some of those matches that are huge WrestleMania-wise, and trying to put those guys in this mode might be hard, or maybe it won't be hard, but we'll see as we go on here. Let's talk about what they had in 30 years of WrestleMania, and then I'll go through my WrestleMania 30 through WrestleMania 40 and tell you what matches I would put in there, because there's a lot that could go in there. So for 30 years of WrestleMania, they actually had the Hulk Hogan era, which was WrestleMania 1, which Andre and Big John Studd. Then we had WrestleMania 2, Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy. At WrestleMania 3, they had two matches. They had Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon, and Hulk Hogan versus Andre. WrestleMania 4, they had Macho Man versus the Million Dollar Man, Ted DiBiase. WrestleMania 5, they had Macho Man versus Hogan. WrestleMania 6, they had Hogan versus Warrior. 7, they had Sergeant Slaughter versus Hulk Hogan. WrestleMania 8, which may or may not be able to be in the game, is Ric Flair versus Macho Man Randy Savage. WrestleMania 9, they had two matches, which was Bret Hart versus Yokozuna, and then Yokozuna versus Hulk Hogan. Then at WrestleMania 10, they had two matches, which Razor and Shawn, and Yoko and Bret. WrestleMania 11, they had Undertaker and King Kong Bundy, and they also had Diesel and Shawn Michaels. WrestleMania 12, they had The Undertaker versus Diesel, and Bret Hart versus Shawn. WrestleMania 13, we had Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Then we get into the Attitude Era, which WrestleMania 14, we had The Undertaker versus Kane. At WrestleMania 15, they had The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then at WrestleMania 2000, we had that main event of Triple H, The Rock, Big Show, and Mick Foley. WrestleMania 17, we had the iconic Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now moving on to the Ruthless Aggression Era, we had WrestleMania 18 with two different matches of The Rock and Hollywood Hulk Hogan versus, and then we had Chris Jericho versus Triple H. WrestleMania 19, we had two matches, which was Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho, and The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Again, with the Chris Jericho one, who knows if they could put him in the game. I don't know how that works, but probably not. WrestleMania 20, we had John Cena and The Big Show. We also had Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. WrestleMania 21, we had JBL versus John Cena. WrestleMania 22, we had Edge and Mick Foley in that awesome match where they went through the table. That one could or could not be in the game based on Edge's status now. WrestleMania 23 had Batista and The Undertaker, and John Cena and Shawn Michaels, which, you know, both of those are very close to being in the game. WrestleMania 24, you had Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair, iconic match. Don't know if that would make it in the game. And Randy Orton, Triple H, and John Cena. And then we get into the next era, which is the Universe era, which would be WrestleMania 25. We have two matches, Edge versus John Cena versus Big Show, and Randy Orton versus Triple H. WrestleMania 26, they had Chris Jericho and Edge, and Batista and John Cena. And they also had The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. WrestleMania 27, we had Edge versus Alberto Del Rio, and The Miz versus John Cena. WrestleMania 28, we have Triple H and The Undertaker, and CM Punk and Chris Jericho, and then also The Rock and John Cena. 29, we had CM Punk and The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar and Triple H, and The Rock versus John Cena. So there it is. Those are everything that was in the game. Again, there's a lot of people like Chris Jericho, Edge, Ric Flair, those kind of guys. I know Goldberg's gone now. If he's going to be in the game or not, who knows. But it's definitely what they had here. Then I'm going on here. I just picked one match from each WrestleMania that I would definitely put in the game here, from WrestleMania 30 all the way up to WrestleMania 40. First off, for WrestleMania 30, I think the most iconic one coming out of that WrestleMania would have to be The Streak is Over, Undertaker Brock. I don't think you could get Daniel Bryan in the game, so that would suck. You couldn't do the iconic Daniel Bryan moment, which was one of the greatest moments of all time. I don't think have we ever played that in a video game? I don't think we ever had, but that was an awesome moment. I'd love to see that, but, you know, we're going to probably get The Streak is Over. Roman versus Brock at WrestleMania 31 with Seth Rollins cashing in. The ability to show the cash in and everything that went on and the iconic stuff there, I would love to see that as part of that moment of the 40. I said 30, but 40 years of WrestleMania on WrestleMania 31. That would be so great. WrestleMania 32, I had two matches. I'd do either Roman and Triple H or Taker versus Shane at the Hell in a Cell match. I think both of those are worthy. Obviously, you could probably get the Roman Triple H match easy. Taker, Shane, Hell in a Cell, you could get easy as well. So both of those fit in if you wanted to include both of them, because maybe you're lacking on other ones. I think that's kind of what they do that. If they don't have a lot, they'll fill it in otherwise in other ones. So I think that is great for that. WrestleMania 33, I would do either Roman versus Taker, which, again, not historically a great match, but the other one you have is Brock versus Goldberg, which, again, I don't know what you think of that match. I thought it was cool, but it's different ends of the spectrum here, what you're going to do there. But both of those matches, I think, are the ones that could make the most sense for this mode. If you can't get Goldberg, obviously Roman versus Taker would be the way to go. WrestleMania 34 is a little bit different. You got Brock versus Roman. Then you could also do Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Shane. I know Ronda Rousey's now doing independence. She's not in the WWE anymore. I don't know what kind of contract she has, if she has like a licensing deal to sell merchandise or maybe put her in the video game. I don't know how that would work, but if they were going to do it, Brock and Roman would be that match that people would, want to play as, and you'd be able to see that in the game. And just having all of like Roman's like history of him getting up to where he is now would be kind of cool to play as well. WrestleMania 35, I would just do Triple H and Batista. If you can't get Batista, I don't know what else you're going to do, but that's definitely one of those matches that I think of WrestleMania, and I think of that WrestleMania. That's definitely the match that I think would be very interesting to play out and just see how it all unfolds in the game. There's a lot of cool spots from that match. I remember Batista looking great, but we'll see. We'll see what comes on there, but Triple H and Batista definitely the match I would pick for that. WrestleMania 36, I think this is the most interesting match that I definitely would put in a video game. This is a video game match that you definitely need to put in the game, is the Taker versus AJ Styles Boneyard match. I think it would be so fun to play that Boneyard match. I'd love to see that unfold in the video game, and I'd love to just watch that as we get to play in the Boneyard, and then have the Boneyard as a thing that you can play in the game, and that would be so cool because it's video game ready, and I think if you put Taker, AJ, Boneyard match in the game, that's going to be awesome. If there's another match that you could get in, depending on what Bray Wyatt's licensing deal is like, I'd love to have Bray Wyatt, John Cena in the Firefly Funhouse match. It was very unique and different, and I don't know how you would actually make it a match. It would be cool to just play it out somehow in video game form. I'd love to see that, but we'll see if they could get that in WrestleMania 36 as well. WrestleMania 37 is probably one of the hardest ones to pick a match off to put in there that actually means something towards WrestleMania. Obviously, one of my favorite main events, Bianca versus Sasha. Sasha's not in the company anymore, so that would be hard for them to do. Or Roman versus Edge versus Bryan. Of course, Bryan and Edge are not a part of WWE anymore, so getting that match to be on there would be kind of difficult. But those are those two biggest matches that I think would fit for that. Can they do it? I don't think they can, so I don't know what they're going to do for WrestleMania 37. WrestleMania 38, you think of Stone Cold and KO. You also think of Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar in the winner takes all match. But what I would love to see would be the Sami Zayn, Johnny Knoxville match from that WrestleMania, because playing as Johnny Knoxville, putting him in the game as that character would be such a great licensing thing, and I would love to play as Johnny Knoxville and just have him in the game to play as Johnny Knoxville. It's such a cool thing. So if you could get Johnny Knoxville, put that match in there, have the giant mousetrap as a weapon in the game too, that would be so cool. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that, but I would love to see that. If they could make that happen, please make that happen. Please do make that happen. I would love it. I'd love it. WrestleMania 39, you could include two matches if you wanted. You could do the KO and Sammy versus the Usos, which, again, a lot of people love that match, say it's the best one out of that WrestleMania. The storytelling, mwah. Do you love it? I don't know. Do you still love it? And looking back at it, I don't know. It was great at the time, but yeah. And then the other is Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, which is huge, iconic, great, big. Cody should have won. That's what everyone said. Do they still think that? I don't know. Yeah, why not? Anyway, there we are. Here we are. Here we are now. Cody, Roman, put that match in there. Or put the KO, Sammy, Usos match. There you go. Either one of those or both of them. Why not? Just do them both. WrestleMania 40, we don't know what's going to happen. We have no idea what's going to play out, how it's going to look going into the future. So this would be one of those things where you could do a fantasy match, you could do a make your own match, book your own main event, or have a final boss type match where you pick a character and you have to go against a really difficult final boss. I don't know what that would be, but it's, it's a video game. So take WrestleMania 40, kind of put in an arena that you think WrestleMania 40 will look like, and then have a final boss to go with that. So anyway, guys, there's my final lineup of what I would like to see if you did a 30 years of WrestleMania. Again, there's a lot of difficult issues here with Ric Flair, Edge, Chris Jericho, CM Punk, those kind of guys having those main events at WrestleMania or having those big matches at WrestleMania and being able to put them in the game. Will that happen? I don't know, but I would love for them to do 40 years of WrestleMania. Let me know what favorite WrestleMania matches you'd like to play on a video game. Again, the Boneyard, Firefly Funhouse, the Johnny Knoxville match. Those are all things that I think would be very fun to play in a video game. And if you could get those in this game for 40 years of WrestleMania, I would love to see it. Anyway, guys, that's where we're going to end it. As always, I'm TonyPizzaGuy. We'll see you in another video.